Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to today's episode of the Save Only podcast. I will be your host, Gift Ahmed. Today we'll be talking about a very important topic, uh, not just for students, but also for researchers and anyone who is interested in writing academic papers. Now, in this episode, we'll be walking through what is citation, bibliography, what are the different styling methods you use in research, how can you find relevant papers or where can you find them, what are the best techniques for automatic referencing, and also what to consider when reading a journal. All these are things we'll be discussing in this episode today. So do well to grab your paper and pen, the notebooks, and I'm sure it's going to be an interesting one for each and every one of us. Now, starting with the first segment of this podcast today, which is understanding citation and bibliography. A lot of students and researchers already have a basic understanding of what they are by definition, but we're just going to look at that and also see what they mean. Basically, citation is a way of giving credit to the original author or the idea or statement or data. Now, it's basically giving credit to the original author. It could be the author of an idea or a statement or a data that you use in your work. It is a little way to mark what they've done within your academic paper. Now, that is simply citation. Now, on the other hand, bibliography is a comprehensive way of listing out all books and papers or online resources you have referenced or used within writing your academic paper. Now, it is usually found at the end of the research work, while citation is within the text of your research paper. Now, the question is, why is it important to us? Now, it is important because citation helps us to avoid what we call plagiarism. Now, plagiarism it's a major offense in the academic industry and also academic world. It's simply copying somebody else's work and claiming to be yours. So, but with the process of citation and referencing them, you are giving them credit for the work they did, and then that would avoid plagiarism. It shows your respect for the intellectual property of the person who did the work or whose idea it was initially. Now, in most cases, this is a transparent way to give credit to the source where you got the data. Now, more professionally, in most industries, papers are referenced and cited in various ways. Now, that being said, we'll be looking at what are the various types of ways or styles. It's called referencing styles that we use in academic papers. Now, we'll be looking at them. There are several styling methods, that is, reference styling methods in the academic world, but there are some that we'll be mentioning and we'll be discussing in this podcast today. The first one we'll be talking about today is the American Physiological Association, APA, which is most widely used in social sciences, education, and philosophy. Now, this styling uses a method where the author's name comes first, the dates, and then other items are listed in terms of the referencing and bibliography of it. Now, in most cases, we cite it like, let's say my name is Gift Ahmed. I could say Gift, then comma, and 2025. That's a way of citing a work I did. Now, on the other hand, if you want to reference it in the bibliography section, you would say something like Ahmed or Gift, then .o G 2025. Now, maybe my paper was on digital literacy in Africa or digital literacy in Nigeria. Now, that will be the title of the work. Then you have to also put in the journal where it was specified. In this case, now it could be Journal of Education and Tech. Now you have to specify the volume and where and the page number where it is. Sometimes you add the DIO number. Now, all of this will be on the screen here. Now, both the citation and the bibliography is a way to reference or give credit to who owns the work that you are using the knowledge from. Now, that is about APA. We have the Harvard style. Now, this is quite similar to the APA styling, but some minor differences in terms of the punctuation and the order and the ordering is what makes it differs. Now, it is commonly used in the business industry as well. That is the Harvard styling. So we have talked about two of them today. We've talked about the APA and we've talked about the Harvard. Now, the third one we'll be talking of today is the IEEE. That's the way we call it, IEEE, or we call it IEEE. Now, this stands for Institute of Electrical Electronics Engineering. So now it is commonly used in the engineering fields, technology, and computer science. Now, the key major differences here is that in their own referencing, they use numbers in brackets to signify it. So, for instance, we could just have 1 in bracket, 2 in bracket. So, we're also going to show the example just right here. Now, mostly we use it in the electrical, electronic fields and technology fields majorly. We also have another one called the MLA, which stands for Modern Language Association. Now, it is primarily used in the art and humanity courses. This style often focuses on the author's page numbers format in the indexing format. So now we could have something like we could just have the bibliography as Gift Ahmed. Then we have the title, that is the title of the project, maybe digital literacy in Africa, then the year in maybe 2025. So we are also going to show the example on the screen. Now, this is also a method that is common in the art and humanity departments and faculties. This is mainly used there. Now, the fifth one we'll be talking about today is the Chicago style. This is most common in the history and fine art department. It is often used as the it is often used in the footnote or endnote. It is mostly about Okay, it is mostly about using the style that works for you in your department. And today we have looked at 5 of them, which are the APA, the Harvard style, the IEEE, the MLA, then we have the Chicago style. Now, a common question that is asked is which of them are better? All styles are the same, just that depending on the one your school wants or depending on the one you want with your supervisor, make sure you always check in with your supervisor. But the common ones that are used are the APA, which is APA, IEEE, and the MLA. These are the common ones we use in uh, the academic industry. But one thing I want you to know, all the styles are equal. None is better, just depending on the department and the ones they use and the institution you are working with and what they want to use. So as a student, make sure you check in with your supervisor to be sure of the styling method, that is the reference styling method that you should use in your own project. All right. That being said, welcome back. So that being said, um, how do you find the right papers? Now, to get right papers, you can get them strong literature papers online. How do you reference some of these papers? Now, most times, there are ways you can get these papers then from online sites that are trusted. The first online site I'll tell you to get your academic research papers from today is Google Scholar. Google Scholar is a platform where you can search for papers online, and then those papers you can make use of them in your academic writing. The next one we have is called ResearchGate. Now, ResearchGate is also a platform where you get research journals and then you reference them within your academic work. The third one we have is academia.edu. Now, this is also a research platform where you get published research journals and papers you can reference within your academic work. Now we have the Microsoft Academic Search. Now that's also one platform you can use. Then we have Scopus. Scopus is also a platform where you get research papers. Now you have Systematic Scholar powered by AI. This is a new one. It's used by AI. Now these are places where you get papers to get your research work. Now, that being said, where do you get, what if you have papers and you're looking for somewhere you can get similar papers? We also have connected papers. Now, these are different platforms you can utilize to get your research journal for your academic work. All of them will be on the screen here. Now, that being said, now let's move forward. How do you search for papers that are relevant with good keywords that you can use in your academic work? Now, to get most of that, you will notice that these papers are often of similar purposes. Now, let's say you're looking for a paper that has to do with health or gender-based or any topic of your choice. You need to understand what we call keywords to find those papers rightly. Let's take, for instance, we have a topic like rainfall prediction in Nigeria, right? Now, how do we find the right papers to all of this, to get all the right papers for our academic journals in this particular field? To get that or to make that work, we have to look for papers that are connected and are related to this topic, which is rainfall prediction in Nigeria. Now, keywords in this is include things like rainfall, prediction, Nigeria, and if you want to be specific, you can mention the state name like Kogi, Abuja, thereabout, Ogun, thereabout. So now the keywords there are rainfall prediction and Nigeria. That being said, when you go into something like ResearchGate, you could say rainfall, then the plus icon, then prediction, then plus Nigeria. That would index uh, Google Scholar to help you find more related topics or papers that are closely related to what you want. Because in cases where your topic is new and you're looking for a related paper, you use keywords to look for those papers. I will look for those items. Now, that's how you get to find papers that are related to your words. Now, the use of abbreviations and filters could also help. Cases where there are common abbreviation in your fields that are used, you could also add them as keywords in your search for Google Scholar. Now, most of the time, I advise people to take filtering important because you don't want to do exactly what somebody has done in a previous year. So you want to filter your search when you get the search, either before you search or after you search to a specific range. All right. And now, if we're in 2025, while I'm recording this video, if I want to look for papers, I would be looking for papers within 2023, 2024, 2025. That's a 3 year span. That would give me the large space to get what are the most recent and relevant work in that field, right? So that is why you have to take note of finding the right way to filter your data or filter the search to get the necessary information. All right, keep in mind as well that it is necessary you know that papers could either be free to download or some you could locate them using their DIO number, which is essentially a digital identifier on the internet. So now it stands for Digital Object Identifier, which can be used to uniquely identify a paper in any site. So you could check Google Scholar, ResearchGate, Academedia, Scopus, and the likes for a particular paper using their DIO numbers. Now, that is also important and will help you to find relevant papers to your field. Applications for automatic referencing. You all know that referencing works could be a tedious task when you have so many papers to reference, and manually doing it can be overwhelming sometimes. So here we'll be looking at how can you do automatic referencing and what are the tools that enables you to do it. Now, doing manual referencing is number one, time consuming, it is stressful, and sometimes, especially when you have dozens of paper, using automatic platforms will help you to get a better result. Or let's even say you were able to do it manually by yourself and you submitted to a particular journal and they accepted that, but you want to submit that same paper to another journal subsequently, and the referencing style is different. Now, that means you have to start doing it manually all over again, but having an automatic way of doing it can easily save you that stress. Now, I'll mention a good number of things you could use. The most tool we use for academic referencing include things like Mendeley. Mendeley is used to manage, organize, and cite reference automatically. Mendeley, it's going to be on the screen. Now, this is a fantastic platform for you to um, manage your reference, manage your papers, and organize them effectively. Now we also have Zomato, which is also a fantastic open source platform that integrates easily into MS Word and Google Docs that allows you to reference as well quickly. Now we have EndNote, is a powerful industry tools for referencing academic work. And then we are in the era of AI, so using it in the right way, mind you, using it in the right way, you could use ChatGPT or Gemini as AI tools for referencing as well in the right way as well. So all these are various ways we can reference our papers using automatic platforms. All right. So they will be on the screen here for you to look at as well. Now, let's talk about these journals that you have gotten from all these platforms. I've told you how to reference it automatically. I've told you where to get it. Now, when you get this journal, how do you read it efficiently and effectively? There are ways to read academic journals in the proper way, and you won't make mistakes. All right. Whenever you open an academic journal, don't rush to read everything line by line. One of the first things you want to do is to read in detail and understanding the abstract of that academic journal. All right. That will help you to narrow the understanding of that paper, because the abstract is like a summary of everything that was done in the research work. So you would want to read the abstract first. It is one of the most important things to filter if a paper meets a criteria for your own research or not. Reading the abstract, because it looks at things like what are the relevant in the topics, or does it align with your goals and your objective, your aims and objective? And once it doesn't align with it, you save your time and the stress of reading everything. Now the question is, how do I know if a paper aligns with my objective or not? There are some key things you need to know to help you or to look out for when you are reading an abstract. What are they? Number one, we have the topic and the aim and objective of that study. That is, what is the topic, and then what is the aim and objective of that topic, of that study. That would help you to understand, does this aim and objective, is it similar to what I would want to do? Right? Now that would help you to narrow down the understanding from the abstract. Now, the next thing you want to look at is the objective and purpose of the study. Objective and purpose of the study. Now, is this something that aligns with the objectives you want to achieve? Now, you should be able to get all of this from the abstract. First, you'll be able to get the topic, you'll be able to get the objective, sorry, the aim and the objective as well, or the purpose of the study from the abstract. Now, times like in some cases, you might even get the methodology they use. That's the third thing. The third thing here is the methodology or methods used, or sometimes we also look at methods and material used. All right. So, looking at the abstract, these are things you watch out for. First, the topic. Second, the aim. Third, the objective. Fourth, the methods or the material used, right? Now, once you have these four things, next thing you want to look at is what are the results they got, all right? What are the results from the journal that you are reading? Now you get to know what are the results they obtained. Now, after that, you have things like what is the conclusion or the final decision based on that paper. That would help you to clearly point out things like if it aligns with your interest or does it meet the criteria of you either using it as one of your reference paper or not. Now, with this, you are able to narrow down your key things into five things. I said first, the topic and objective and aim, then the objective, the methodology, the results, then finally the conclusion or the decision in that paper, right? So this helps you to better read a paper and what you should watch out for while reading those papers. Finally, we'll be talking about identifying knowledge gaps and comparison research. All right. Now, this allows you to, looking at these five criteria we talked about before, will help you to better understand things like what are the knowledge gaps you are missing out, what are the knowledge gaps that can be covered, what are also the knowledge gap that you can work on because you are looking out for knowledge gap when you are doing those five things. It helps you to find what is missing, what is yet to be solved, what is already existing. With that, you are able to answer those questions. Now, with giving with giving those gap, that would lay the foundation and the motivation for your own new innovation or continuous study on what somebody has done. Now, on the other hand, comparison research is a method, it's more or less like a better method of doing the knowledge gap where it helps you to gather papers that have done similar things, and then you are able to look at it holistically to see what are the knowledge gap that you can find in all of them to make a better improvement, or in another case study, an efficient way to look at the whole work that has been done, either in groups of is it by methodologies, is it by result comparison, is it by methods used and the different styles they used in terms of the research. Now, that will help you to group it and better understand in a group sense what knowledge gap is missing and where can you improve these gaps. So basically, the knowledge gap is looking for what is missing. Now, a research comparison is where you look at all your paper in the idea or in the methods of saying all these papers are similar. What is missing from them that I can improve? All right. So we are coming to the end of this podcast today. So basically, now what is left is in conclusion, we have looked at today. We have looked at what are citation, what are bibliography, we have looked at what are the common styling methods in the academic fields, right? Now we have also looked at where we can get papers, incredible papers like Google Scholar, ResearchGate, and the likes. Now we have looked at tools we use for automatic citations and also bibliography like Mendeley and the likes. Now we have also looked at how to effectively read a paper and analyze a research paper, starting with the abstract. All right. So now I want you to remember that the way you the way you are able to research your paper effectively determines how the quality of your work will be. That is in terms of professionalism, ethical considerations, and academic strength. All right. So take note that this is just the introduction to academic journals and how you can do it. Now, thank you very much for listening to us today at the Save Only podcast. Now, if you find this podcast helpful, please share with your friends, your colleagues, your workmates, your fellow research partners. Now, it's going to help the channel as well as do not forget to subscribe for more tech and academic insight. See you next time. Goodbye.